Hey, Faith Family, I hope you guys are doing well this week as we continue in our series, I Love My Church, focusing on the subject of partnership. As Pastor David looked at Philippians chapter 1 and 2 and Paul's love of the church's partnership, I couldn't help but think of Luke's account of the early church and the radical partnership that was displayed in the earliest days of Jesus' church found in Acts chapter 2. I know that Pastor David has already preached through this passage a couple of weeks ago, but there are such profound insights regarding partnership and ministry that we just have to take another look. We'll see that this passage unveils the essence of fellowship, mutual support, and collective worship within the early Christian community. We'll see the communal nature of the early church and draw relevant applications for us as modern day believers. Without a doubt, the early believers serve as a remarkable example of vibrant partnership and ministry, characterized by their shared commitment and communal spirit. First thing we see in this passage is their devotion to teaching and fellowship led to sharing in worship and prayer. Verse 42 states, "They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, to fellowship, to the breaking of bread, and to prayer." The early believers were truly devoted both to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship. Their dedication went beyond mere physical presence. It encompassed a passionate commitment to learning and growing in their understanding of God's Word together. We must grasp the significance of this truth. Studying God's Word and engaging in meaningful fellowship are indispensable for our spiritual growth and the thriving of our partnership and ministry. What's more is the believers were actively engaged in the breaking of bread through communal worship and prayer. They experienced a profound sense of unity and shared identity. Their corporate worship demonstrated their commitment to worshiping together as a community and their reliance on God. Remember that partnership in ministry is nourished when we partake in shared worship experiences and steadfast prayer. So, what about you? Are you dedicating yourself to the study of God's Word, fostering a hunger for truth and a deepening of your faith? Are you engaging in genuine fellowship and building authentic relationships that support and encourage others? We should never underestimate the power of collective worship and prayer, for they strengthen our bond as a faith family and fuel our partnership in ministry. The second thing we see in this passage is that awe and signs led to mutual generosity and selfless provision. Verse 43 through 45 highlights the aspect of mutual support and provision among the early believers, which was a key element of their partnership in ministry. Verse 43 reads, "Everyone was filled with awe, and many wonders and signs were being performed through the apostles. Now all the believers were together and held all things in common. They sold their possessions and property and distributed the proceeds to all as any had need." I'm awestruck by the communal spirit that permeated the early believers' gatherings. It was accompanied by signs and wonders as God's power flowed through the apostles and the people. These miraculous works affirmed their unity and partnership in ministry, showcasing the presence of God among them, and this recognition deepened their commitment to serving together, bearing witness to the transformation that comes in true partnership. We also see that the believers demonstrated a remarkable selflessness. They sold their possessions and shared the proceeds with those in need. This act of generosity went beyond mere gestures. It was a tangible expression of their commitment to caring for one another and ensuring each other's well-being. It goes beyond mere words and extends to sacrificial actions, meeting practical needs with love and compassion. And what about you? Are you cultivating a genuine sense of unity and partnership, allowing God's power to flow through you for the benefit of others? Are your actions mirroring the selflessness of those early believers? Are you sacrificially serving others and meeting practical needs in the name of Christ? In doing so, we bear witness to the transformative power of partnership in ministry. The final thing we see in this passage is that regular fellowship and hospitality led to joyful and generous hearts. Verse 46 and 47 tell us, They ate their food with joyful and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. Every day the Lord added to their number those who were being saved. So let's take a moment to reflect on the vibrant fellowship among the early believers. They were not satisfied with occasional gatherings. Instead, they actively engaged in regular fellowship. Daily they met both in the temple and in their homes, breaking bread together, sharing meals. This intentional commitment to regular fellowship created a deep sense of belonging and fostered a powerful partnership among them. Not only did they gather together, but they also opened their homes with genuine hospitality. This act of welcoming others into their personal spaces created an environment of warmth and intimacy where authentic relationships could thrive and grow. The early believers approached their shared meals with glad and generous hearts. Their attitude was one of joy and gratitude, which permeated through their community. Their partnership in ministry was marked by an absence of resentment and selfishness, replaced instead by a genuine desire to bless and support one another. It was this joyful and generous disposition that shaped an extraordinary positive environment among them. So what about you? Are you inspired to cultivate regular fellowship both within the walls of our church and in your home? Are you extending warm hospitality and creating spaces where authentic relationships can flourish? Are you approaching your shared meals and gatherings with hearts filled with gladness and generosity? In doing so, we will foster a partnership and ministry that reflects the love and joy of Christ. The early believers exemplified a vibrant partnership and ministry through their devotion to learning, their commitment to fellowship, and their shared worship experiences. They understood that studying God's Word and engaging in meaningful fellowship were integral to their spiritual growth and unity as a community. Their regular gatherings, both in the temple and in their homes, provided fertile grounds for authentic relationships to flourish. The breaking of bread together and sharing of meals demonstrated their hospitality. I am so excited to see so many of these elements of vibrant partnership and ministry within our own faith family. But we can always continue to grow. So let's be devoted to studying God's Word and growing together in understanding and encouraging one another in faith, that our fellowship would be marked by genuine hospitality, and that we would approach our shared worship experiences with hearts filled with joy and gratitude, offering ourselves in selfless service to one another, and in doing so, we might point others towards the love of Christ.